all say stop again. Jeez, I can't believe it. Took my donut. Welcome to another episode of Travels with Charlie, Vermont Politics in Real Life. We're shooting today at the Quality Bake Shop in Essex Junction, Vermont, one of my favorite places for donuts. And I've invited two of my friends, formerly in law enforcement. Jen Morrison, you served in Burlington as a police officer for 23 years, in Colchester as a chief for 5 years, and Jojo Leahy. Jojo, a senior sergeant with the Vermont State Police. He served for 28 years. Thank you both for being here. We're going to have a serious conversation today about disarming police officers. This is something that was brought up by a city councilor in Burlington, but we're also going to enjoy some great donuts. So we'll be digging in just a moment and digging in right into the meat of this topic. So thanks again for being with me today.
Thanks for having us.
To sort of give some of the backstory to what we're talking about today, this was a suggestion from a city councilor in Burlington, Vermont. Her name is Perry Freeman. And I do want to point out that Perry was asked multiple times to be part of the conversation, and she did not respond to my request. So I'll try to fill in for her as best as I can, but I certainly want to hear your opinions and your thoughts on disarming police. You served in Burlington, as you mentioned, for a number of years, Jen. And you know that city very well.
I do.
When you heard that a city councilor suggested that police be disarmed, what were your thoughts immediately?
My immediate thoughts were, of course, of being incredulous that this was just impossible and impossible to take it seriously. However, I think it's really important to frame up front that nobody gets on the city council to screw things up. It's a thankless job, and they work a lot of hours, and presumably they all have the best interests of the community at heart.
Yeah.
So I believe that Councilor Freeman probably made her comments in a way to be provocative and spur a discussion. It's unfortunately as much good as she might have thought she was doing. I think she's done 3 times as much harm. This is somebody who's relatively naive about American policing.
Yeah. You know, one of the comments that she made, and Jojo, I'd like to get your thoughts on this, and this is the word that stuck out for me. Councilor Freeman suggested that police not carry guns on routine patrol. I'm going to use the air quotes. Is there a routine patrol?
You may start your day off helping a disabled motorist on the side of a road, and then you go to a high-speed pursuit, and then to a medical emergency, and then an aggravated assault or a domestic violence call. And I think we've all done it in the same shift.
The concept of only taking a gun out when you need it is impossible, because you do not know when you need it. There is no crystal ball, and the unknown factor is what makes it impossible to even consider the proposal of disarming the police.
We've been here for about 10 minutes already. Jojo, you haven't grabbed the donut. I'm a little disappointed. There's a Boston cream in there with your name, and Jen, that plain donut is calling you.
I'm not known for being a wimp, but my wife might see this.
Let me read from a page from a City Council Facebook page that Perry Freeman posted after all of this discussion. And she says, in Burlington, we have had numerous incidences over the last years that have called into question our police department's use of force and firearm use. It wasn't until a few years ago that I learned that some countries do not require their police on regular duty to carry firearms. And she mentions the UK, New Zealand, and Iceland. Of these countries, Iceland stood out. Unlike the UK and New Zealand, Iceland has a high rate of gun ownership on par with Vermont, yet their law enforcement officers do not carry firearms and have shot and killed 1 person in 72 years. In Burlington, 2 people were shot and killed by police in the last 6 years. Iceland utilizes a policing philosophy based on a culture of consent, respect, and trust. In the U.S., firearms as a regular policing tool can enable a policing philosophy built on violence and forced compliance. These kind of cultural shifts often don't happen overnight. I'm thankful for the opportunity to be part of these conversations and work towards solutions. Where do you want to start?
I have to call out this comment of a policing philosophy of violence and forced coercion
Compliance.
and forced compliance,
Yeah.
coercion.
Yeah.
Counselor Freeman does not know anything about the Burlington Police Department and who they are and their history. Burlington PD was one of the forerunners in community policing and problem solving with intense partnerships and stakeholders at the table to solve really sticky and vexing community problems. And a comment like that just says to me that this counselor does not know anything about her police department, doesn't know the history, and does not know the outstanding work that is being done there, and is trying to take a teeny tiny fraction, i.e. 2 shootings over 6 years, and paint the whole department and all the work they do with that broad brushstroke. I can only imagine how disheartening this must be for the men and women of BPD who risk their lives every day.
Jojo, you were shot in the line of duty.
I was, 1990.
You want to talk a little bit about that? What can you tell me about that?
It started at a grocery store. A kid had gone in to buy a carton of milk and a sandwich for dinner, and his wife and he had had a tumultuous relationship. Got in the car, they had an argument. He's sitting in the car with the door open. She's standing in the door. He ends up backing over her and fled. Afterwards, we found out he went back to his apartment, got a shotgun and a shoulder holster with a .357 Magnum and speed loaders. It was a high-speed, low-speed pursuit. I heard the call. I headed towards it, and I told him to let the guy get out of the village. Just let him come north to me. I'll set up a roadblock, and no one gets hurt. I got hurt. I had my soft body armor on, and I had a tactical vest on. It nicked the inside of the tactical vest because I had duty gear on, and it went underneath the soft body armor that we wear under our uniforms. Went all the way through and came out the right side. It hit the vest on the outside coming out, but that was just a beautiful October afternoon. My wife and son and her parents had gone to church that afternoon. Kind of surprised me.
Any fresh in your coffee, guys?
That'd be great, thank
All
you.
right. You got to clear up a couple of cliches for me. First off, I just found this out. I mean, I've known you guys for years, and I didn't realize that cops all drink their coffee black. Is that right?
Well, that's a generalization.
Yeah.
Old school cops.
Old
drink their
school
coffee
cops?
black.
Jen and I do because
Why?
no matter where you go, the coffee's the way you like it.
Right.
So you're in a hurry, give me a coffee. Don't have to ask for the soy milk or the stevia. Right?
Exactly.
Simple? Okay. And what about donuts? Come on.
Well, see, if we do the donuts, I have less carbs in the coffee
Yeah.
because there's no sugar or cream, so
So we can have the donut.
You can have the donut.
Yes.
it's my
right.
justification.
All
We
right.
like donut.
So I do want to talk with you a little bit about what Perry has said about disarming police officers. I mean, that's a great goal to work forward. Could you imagine if police officers didn't have to carry guns?
Imagine going to work without a bulletproof vest on.
Oh God. The vest
That'd be
and
great.
the sweat.
Yeah.
You know, you take your Kevlar, you wrap it in the polyester because polyester lasts for years. So it's yes, a summer day,
Yeah.
walk in the
How much
heat
does that vest
without-
weigh?
Nowadays,
Yeah.
a couple pounds.
Yeah, a lot.
Back in the day,
yeah.
it was much heavier.
Yeah.
When I
But it's
first
like
came
wearing
on
a
the
sweater
job.
vest underneath your uniform.
Yeah.
Sure, it's hot.
It's very hot.
The utopia, if we didn't have drugs, if we didn't have domestic violence, if we didn't have as much mental health, if we had a more genteel society,
Civility.
yeah,
A more civil,
You know,
civilized society.
respect for law enforcement as opposed to what the media and some politicians are doing.
Yeah.
Everyone knows law enforcement's job better than them.
You're never going to stop the Monday morning quarterbacks, but the
Right.
folks who've been there and who've been on the job
Yeah.
understand that we
Yeah.
make split-second decisions under rapidly evolving and constantly changing circumstances, sometimes in low light, sometimes in driving rain, sometimes in snow, sometimes when we've already been injured and are responding to a continued threat. It's really convenient to Monday morning quarterback. And I guess what I would hope is that we could get to a place where we don't have to use force as often, but also that the folks who make statements like this might
Yeah.
walk in our shoes a little
Yeah.
bit before they do it.
So this is the portion of the program, guys. I usually hand out a magic wand and I let you, grant you any wish. I'd give you a magic cruller.
Where's the cruller?
The crullers are gone. The crullers went the fastest here today. So I'll give you the magic wand and just ask you. We've talked about some of the changes that Councilor Freeman would like to see, give you the magic wand. You can wave it. Any changes that you would love to see in policing and community and the bad guys out there? Jen, you're first.
I would love to see the momentum and some of the energy around that has been generated around these comments by Councilor Freeman be turned into something that's more impactful at the community level. And I'm going to direct attention specifically to a couple of concepts: social cohesion and collective efficacy. And it really takes it down not just to the like patrol area level, but to the neighborhood, to discrete street levels, and talking about how do we bring our citizens together to be engaged and to care about their place. And there's hours we could talk about social cohesion and how to build it in communities, how to make communities more self-reliant so that they don't have to use the police to solve low-level problems, and to build collective efficacy that we can enforce societal norms, positive societal norms, to begin to change the culture, starting at the micro level and move, and of course moving up through. So that would be my magic wand, that this energy that this discussion has created get channeled into something very positive.
Jojo, you may wave the magic wand. You can wish for a dozen donuts too. We'll make that happen for you. That I can do.
No, I would like for the politicians and the media to put themselves in the boots of law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, and actually see what they do and make those decisions day in and day out. See the beauty of you know, helping somebody with a flat tire. I want people to understand that law enforcement men and women are good people. I want them to get a fair shake. That fair shake coming from the politicians and the media.
Yeah.
If I had to do that, what would I do? Not the best answer, not the best decision to make, but was that in that group of decisions that man or woman had to make to do the right thing at that split second? That's what I want.
Yeah, and stop using police use of force to sensationalize and work on click rates, to up your click rates, because police use of force is a necessary evil.
Yeah.
It is, and it will continue to be until the culture of our
culture
country
changes.
has changed.
Thanks to my guests today, Jojo Leahy, retired state trooper, and Jen Morrison, retired police chief in Colchester and from the Burlington Police Department, here on Travels with Charlie. Special thanks to Quality Bake Shop here in Essex. You guys both agree. Great donuts. Check it out, and check out the nails on Jen. She got that done just for the donut shop today. I'll see you in my travels.
Cheers.
On your mind, it's time well spent talking president. Though we may not agree, let your thoughts run free.